Hey, this is Natalie Kolbeck. I'm here with Jodi Ohl for Creative Jumpstart 2020. I'm super excited to have Jodi back. She has been joining Creative Jumpstart several times. I know her for several years. I love Jodi's art. We have also taught together a couple times. One time even filming together for an art journal class that we did both. And so, but without further ado, I would like to have Jodi say hello and introduce herself. Hey, Jodi.
Hello. Well, thank you for that warm welcome. I'm so excited to be back with Creative Jumpstarts. I just love this program, and I've met so many wonderful people through it. So really excited. And yeah, we go way back to doing retreats together and doing a lot of things. So definitely it's always great to meet people online that you admire. So I really appreciate this opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. I mean, I think the first time we taught together might have been in New Jersey or in Dallas.
Yeah, I think it was New Jersey Create. That kind of brings back
Right.
memory.
That was a cool retreat for definitely. But tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that you, as I, had a not very linear path to art, and also about your beautiful artwork, which we can see a little bit in the background of.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I came to art like maybe in my 40s. I've always been creative and done different things in different ways. I was a musician for a while in school, and I love writing. I was an English major for in college, but I really actually was better at the business side than I was at writing. Something I always enjoyed doing, but so I actually went. I was in the corporate world for quite a few years, and was in banking. I was a bank manager previously before I became a full-time artist for 10 years. And, it's kind of funny. Like, I came into art during a particularly hard time in my life.
Mhm.
And it was like art journaling, collage, just painting, while I was working my day job. And I was just doing that at night and on the weekends. And it just brought me so much joy. And one of my roles as a manager was to train a lot of employees. Plus, I helped out mentoring other bank managers and salespeople. So the training and the teaching part came very naturally as I transitioned into what has become now my full time job as an artist. So it kind of just struck me. It was at a good time in my life where I've been managing people for so long. And it was just time for me to manage myself and really empower myself. And, I was at a pivot point in life when I'm like, you know what, I think I could do this. And
Mhm.
so, I just started teaching online and in person, really small jobs, and, just kind of got the gumption to send some of my work into a publisher. And lo and behold, I got accepted and wrote some articles for Cloth Paper Scissors. And that's how I kind of got into teaching at the Create Retreat where you
Mhm.
and both met at, and I think, for me, definitely having that business background helped me a lot in being, having that sales and marketing background and just giving me like the gumption to go ahead and try to put myself out there. As I've learned in the business world, if you don't ask, you don't receive.
Right.
And every no leads to a yes. So I like rejection has always been there. I've gotten rejected many times, but at the same time, I always know that no risk, no reward. So
Exactly. Yes.
and that's the same. That's how go about my painting style too. And a lot of my painting is about color, about texture. Yeah, I was just saying like the discovering part of art where you can just try adding whatever to your recipe.
Right.
It's just the fun part of art, and I've kind of learned that you just and it all kind of connects together that if you don't try new things, you don't make new discoveries, and you always keep evolving. And I think a lot of my art is really known for its texture and its color.
Mhm.
And I know we're going to be doing something about superpowers coming up, so I kind of have a couple ideas in my head. But I think definitely color is something that just really gives me a lot of joy. And but going back to like even my like teaching, I just really have found that I love having a purpose. Like it's
Mhm.
not just about creating in my studio. I love, like, even though my job at the bank was great, I love being able to go out and meet people
Mhm.
and and online and make those connections. And I feel like I'm making a difference in the world. So it's not
Right.
just
Yeah.
so we're my new job brings me a lot of joy, but I also feel like it's bring more meaning into my life. No, I think you and I have a similar teaching style because I don't necessarily teach intuitive art. I think a lot
Hmm.
what I do is intuitive, but I like to teach processes and the whys behind
Right.
things. And, if you make a mistake, it's not a huge deal, but to understand what products you use and
Exactly.
why you would use this versus something else. And no, not that there's any right or wrong answers, but it's just understanding your choices and making the most of them. So, but yeah, I think that like our training background has helped us kind of make the, deliver what we're trying to convey a little bit more easier and, something that's receptive to a lot of people.
Right,
So,
exactly. So I think we're more appealing maybe to people that are also more analytic and want to know why. And then you have other people that are super awesome in like telling people how to paint things just intuitively, and
right.
go, and that's great too. I mean, as you said, in a kind of way we do that, but also because we know our tools, that works pretty well. And I think it's awesome that there are so many ways to approach art, to teach art, to do art, and there's no right or wrong, and that's what's so awesome about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it all. And I love learning from other people too and just seeing, what they bring to the table. I took my first actual in-person art class.
Oh, you did?
It was totally outside of my lane. And doing oil portraits with the artist I'm very, very fond of. And
Wow.
so it was kind of neat being the student because I definitely was the lowest on the totem pole as far as skill level goes. And so it was fun kind of seeing somebody else's approach to it too, and also being in the shoes of a student at
Right.
that in time too, on something that I just wanted to learn, and I was ready to accept whatever happened. I was just joyful to be in the moment with somebody I admired, so that was kind of fun.
And oil paints are so. I only dabbled a little bit into it, and not a real oil course, but we used oil paints and at
Mhm.
MoMA when I took a class there, and it was not about the oil paints. It was basically more about art history, going through the gallery, and then just play with it. But I was really intimidated. I was like, holy cow, like that's like a whole different world of art supplies and how you use media and
Yes.
how that reacts.
Definitely. Well, yeah, and I've just kind of dabbled in it in the last 3 or 4 years because I do cold wax and oil painting. And I also just wanted another way to use oil paints that I have, not just with cold wax, and just kind of
Mm.
expand my knowledge of it too. But yeah, it is a whole new world. So it's kind of fun because like I've gotten very familiar with acrylic paints, and I do a little bit of watercolors too. But it's fun trying something different, and it's always good to be a student.
I think
And
that's very important too. I mentioned that before in a different interview, but I started learning the ukulele, which is like super different, right? Yeah, I always wanted to do an instrument. So I was like, I'm not very talented, I'm not very musical, but whatever, I'm gonna try it. I found fun. And it's really interesting because sometimes, you realize where your frustration points are,
yeah.
and where you have to, but it also helps, like you have to practice, you have to do certain things, and also sometimes it's okay if it sounds terrible, I still have fun.
Yeah. Well, I think it's I heard something today and it just reminded me of something I teach in my classes that the struggle is always going to be there, and I think that the more comfortable you are with knowing that a struggle is going to come, if everything in life became too easy to us, what would be worth trying? Like why would it
Exactly.
it's like struggling and like having a learning curve. That's not a bad thing. you know
Right.
we're growing at that point in time, so good for you for trying something new like that.
Yeah.
I'll bring my flute back from high school, and
Nice.
we'll start a little band together, do Stairway to Heaven like it's acoustically.
Nice. So speaking of, you mentioned it already, for this 2020 Creative Jumpstart, is always every day in January where there's a new teacher with a new video that gets uploaded, and it's about 10 minutes long. On purpose, we do it short and quick because that's just our format. We want to have a little Creative Jumpstart and have you hopefully be able to go into your studio and then create something. And every year our teachers get a theme sent out, and then they have to think about it. I do it pretty loose.
Right.
So this year's loose theme is your artistic superpower. What is your superpower artistically, and if it's different in your real, like normal, like, I mean, normal life sounds weird, but non-artistic life?
So my superpower, creatively, I can't even pronounce it, in my creative life and my personal life. Well, my creative life, I would say it is about, I would say color, and I think definitely color has been in just learning about values in my work. So like, I've been pretty good at just like, being known for like my color in my work. Which is kind of odd because I have like some stuff behind me in a collection I'm working that's not as colorful, but at the same time it's about values. So in my head, I haven't quite decided what I'm gonna do yet, or maybe by the time this is posted, I will already have it done. But I think I'm really gonna focus on for this project, like working on values and shading and something about color is what I'm gonna lean toward. And as far as my creative life, obviously I like not color, my personal life rather, I think for me, it is like, I enjoy helping others grow, into better versions of themselves. So I think like the teaching aspect for me personally, both, sharing lessons and sharing, good communication skills and being able to relate to other people, has been probably one of my superpowers. Not the most outgoing person, but I think that like on one-on-one and that connecting part, is what I enjoy. And I enjoy helping others like kind of, be more successful in whatever it is they do. So I don't know if that's a superpower or not, but just something I enjoy doing.
That's a pretty awesome superpower.
Yeah. Right. Do not play the ukulele, so that's not one of them.
Well, I wouldn't say that is my superpower.
Your baby power, yeah.
Yeah, it's without the power. It's just baby.
Yeah, it's developing.
That's so cool. So basically, that is what I wanted to ask you. What do you feel like? You teach a lot of workshops, and what do you get back from your students? But how do students inspire you? Do they inspire you?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think like I'm very blessed to be able to go around the country and meet a lot of different people and a lot of, around the country. You kind of see like different, and no matter where you go, one thing I think has been, inspiring to me is to realize that we all are very much more alike than we are different. And so we all have the same kind of fears. We have the same kind of insecurities. We have similar struggles, no matter what social rung of the ladder you're on or what background you are. There's so much that connects us. And I think it's in this day and age, where there's so much divisiveness in the country.
Yeah, right.
When you like let go of politics and religion and all the things that can really divide us, and you get to know the person, and we have like that common bond of the love of art. I just really feel like it's eye-opening to realize that we have similarities and differences, and I think that's inspiring in itself. And also, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of what else. Just the genuineness of people are just really, it's nice to also meet people outside your social circle. And I think left to my own devices, I probably wouldn't have that a fortune to be able to do that, to meet people that are so different. And, so I'm just really grateful for that opportunity and with my students. So.
Yeah, I also love, as you said, sometimes they're out of their social circle. I'm always amazed how often you have students that do not have other people that they do share this, like their friends don't share that interest. And so they're so brave to just go to these classes and, throw themselves into this group of people they don't know, and then, engage with other students. And also you open yourself up. It's about vulnerability.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many. Like I'm very fortunate to live in a pretty like artistic community. I mean, that's not like super artistic. We have a fair amount of artists in our area, but it's not like that everywhere. And like
Exactly.
you can feel like you're on an island. Your family doesn't get the art stuff, and your friends are doing different things, and it's like you just want somebody to connect with. So art workshops are, whether it's online or in person, are a great way to find people that enjoy similar things as such as yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so. I mean, I always love that. And then when people kind of connect, you know, and they're like, let's go somewhere else, and then you teach like a couple of years later, and you see students that met for the
Yeah.
first time at some other retreat, or you know, and just connected and kept, you know. We have a lot of students actually that know each other from from you know, retreats, and then they connect together for Creative
Yeah.
Jumpstart, and it's super fun too. So I love that.
Friendships are forged that way, absolutely. Like you meet online, or you meet and you end up meeting in person, and yeah, it's really amazing how small of a world that is. And I mean, I was in Texas last week, and it was funny. Like the host is a former teacher. Well, she is still a teacher, but has a part-time job as a workshop coordinator. And I met her years ago doing another project, and then we kind of kept up with each other here and there. But she was just teaching at Art Unraveled, and then she had a student that I'm good friends with, and we're like, whoa, like how did we the zag of connections is just like amazing. You realize that the world has shrunken, and
Right.
the 7 degrees of, or is it 6
Exactly.
degrees?
Everyone knows each other somehow,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And it's super fun. So, as I said before, your work is super gorgeous and abstract. I mean, sometimes it's also very whimsical. You mentioned already that you took this oil painting class. Do you do and paint or create things that are more realistic or representational?
Well, I think I do. But I always have. I don't say always, but a lot of times there's a whimsical edge to them. So my work's evolved a lot, over the years, and and I enjoy jumping from different genres. And in some ways, you may think like, well, as an artist, you should probably stay in your own lane, and I do for the some part. But I just think like as we all have different sides of our personality, when I'm feeling fun and playful and colorful, I
Mm-hmm.
might do my fun whimsical birds or houses or what have you. And when I'm feeling more contemplative, I might do my abstracts and slow it down a little bit. And then even more so, if I'm really being precise, I might be doing some kind of illustration work. So there are some elements of realism in some of my work, but I have to say that the whimsical and playfulness have really, they're kind of like on a pie chart. Like there's this much realism, and the rest of the other 99% is mostly, not to say that, but I kind of don't want to be pigeonholed either, because I want, people to know that it's okay to change things. But what I do because I do sell my work, is when I'm working on, say I'm going to do abstracts,
Mm-hmm.
I try to stick in a collection of sorts. So before I change gears again, I'm going to complete something that's going to make a nice display somewhere. So like
Mm-hmm.
9 or 10, maybe up to 20 pieces. Before, not to say that I can't do other things in the meantime, but before I fully feel good about moving on. It's kind of like cleaning up your kitchen. You're not gonna just do the dishwasher, whatever the dishes. You're gonna do the floors. You're gonna do everything.
Right.
On to the next room. And I kind of feel like I need to have that sense of closure and completion. And I do the same thing with my whimsical pieces. I usually
Mm-hmm.
try to in collections. And when I first started painting, I started painting in watercolors, and those were all realistic. But then I had a fire in my house, and
Oh.
and while the whole house wasn't destroyed, quite a bit of it was. And one of the things that I remember most from that was like the next day coming back, and all my belongings are on the front lawn, and a big huge pile of everything that was destroyed. And a few of my paintings, the firemen had put on the front lawn, that had pretty much been ruined. But there was this one that was not ruined, but it was pretty much ruined. It kind of had like these black smoke marks and these water driplets coming down, almost like tears, like
Mm-hmm.
the flora was crying. So I kind of put away watercolors for a long time, because it really kind of brought back those memories.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved on to art journaling and collage, and so a few years ago I picked back up watercolors again. And I had somebody remark like, oh, really, you picked these up pretty quickly for just learning them. But in reality, I really didn't just learn them. I just hadn't done them in several years, because it was a bit of a So like that was kind of more my realistic thing. And actually, I'm going to be I'm teaching in France next year, and we're going to be doing watercolors and more realistic work, and kind of just taking the inspiration from the area, and just kind of infusing that into our work. So
That's awesome. Where can people find information about your workshops?
You can find all my information. The portal is at everything social media wise is Jodi Ohl. So www.jodiohl.com is where my website is. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, check it out. So on your page, which we just talked about, and on your about page, you actually have something where you say color has the ability to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of your favorite colors, and what are they saying?
Well, like there's so many different colors. I like different color combinations. And I really do like the complementary colors, like red and greens, the blues and oranges together, or aqua and coral. Those kind of colors I like together, magenta and green. So that's kind of like the red and green family, or green gold rather. But right now I'm using a lot of neutral colors.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for me, I'm going through a change in my life in a lot of different ways. And, so I feel like I want a more peaceful entry into this change. So not that those colors aren't peaceful, but the calmness of these neutrals and like the earthy tones and the blues, or the creams and the oranges, it kind of just gives me a way to communicate what I'm going through, like the change. So I think, with color, that's what I try to talk to my students about. It really does influence how your painting comes across, along with other things, your gestural marks that you make, brush strokes and things like that, or scribbling marks, and but using color to express your emotions is a big part for me. So yeah.
That's nice. I like your neutral lately too. I think that's an interesting way to. I haven't thought about it, that there's always changes in your life. I've lately been more, I'm usually like very colorful, and I cover up usually everything. And lately I'm very drawn to a lot of open space and white space, actually also literally white space, which is very, very unusual for me. But I feel like drawn to it. And it's a good way to think about it, if that's just, things are changing, and comes with age sometimes too, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I think that's what, art is about. I was trying to, I don't know if I can remember the exact way I put it in my class last week, but especially with abstract painting, and you're not really representing anything in particular. So sometimes you can, but a lot of mine are non-representational. So what you're trying to communicate comes out in the color and your brush strokes, and sometimes your life is chaotic, and that shows in how you're painting. And then sometimes your life needs that sense of calmness, so that'll come out in your painting. So that's your way of communicating and telling your story through your art, and that all comes out in those choices you make in your own, in that little, I view a painting almost like as a small book that you're writing a chapter of your own story. And so that comes out in it. And the more you kind of give, maybe that's the intuitive part, more you let that come out in your art, the more it can resonate with other people too.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting. I don't know about you. Did you write a diary when you were younger? I did write a ton of diaries, and then since I actually do more artwork, and I feel like I'm expressing my thoughts and my feelings and everything that's going on more, through my art, I actually don't write anymore. And it's not that I don't enjoy writing. It's just I feel like it's there, and maybe not everyone can read it exactly, but I can.
Vehicle. You have a communication vehicle, I started a lot of diaries. I have a whole bunch of them. But I just like the new books, I think. But so I think and then kind of moved into art journaling, and there's some writing and storytelling in there, and now the storytelling is in the paintings. And sometimes you can kind of tell where I'm at with my title. Not always, but sometimes, it's tells a little story, kind of like the Taylor Swift of painters. The song titles tell it all.
So you don't do a lot of untitled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
No, I don't. I don't. I kind of would like to, but and then I always forget what I title it. So sometimes I write the words into like the title just to help me remember what it is. Not always, but that's one of my little tricks.
Yeah, it's funny. I know what you mean. Super cool. That was super fun. I'm looking forward to seeing your video, and I know everyone else is going to be excited about it too. So sign up for Creative Jumpstart 2020. Use Jodi's link. She will appreciate that too.
Yes.
And we can't wait to see you again in the classroom. Thank you so much, Jodi.
Thank you for this opportunity. It's been great, and we'll see y'all very soon in the Creative Jumpstart.
Bye.
Bye.